The Global Buddhist Congregation 2011 proved to be a turning point in the contemporary history of Buddhism. Convened by Lama Lobzang, a renowned Indian Buddhist monk, the historic congregation comprising 900 delegates from all over the world, including the supreme Buddhist hierarchy representing the entire Buddhist world, unanimously resolved to form the International Buddhist Confederation, or the IBC, a global umbrella Buddhist body to be based in India.
भारत बुद्ध भूमि है जहाँ पर भगवान बुद्ध ने ज्ञान प्राप्त किया, जहाँ भगवान बुद्ध ने प्रथम धम्म चक्र परिवर्तन किया है, जहाँ पर भगवान बुद्ध महापरिनिर्वाण किया, हमारे यहाँ लोग श्रद्धा से आता है.
Buddhism originated here at Bodh Gaya. This great awakening temple stands here in all its majesty to remind us of the timeless story of the enlightenment of Bodhisattva Siddhartha, who attained the Sambodhi, or the perfect enlightenment here, and became the Buddha 26 centuries ago on Vaishakh Purnima, which is a full moon day in the month of May. This mesmerizing sculpture of Buddha facing east marks the exact seat of the Buddha during his enlightenment in the 6th century BCE. The Buddha travelled 180 miles from Bodh Gaya on the ancient Uttar Path to reach present Sarnath. As per tradition, it was here in the deer park of Sarnath on Ashar Purnima, a full moon day in the month of July, that the Buddha delivered his first preaching to his 5 former ascetic companions.
The basic teaching of the Buddha, which he revealed to the 5 mendicants in Sarnath, preaching the first sutta, which is called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, turning the wheel of dharma. Buddha laid the foundation of dharma. Buddha taught the middle path, avoiding the extremes, coming to the middle. This is what is called the dharma. Buddha talked about the 4 noble truths and the eightfold path, which is nothing but that there is suffering, there is cessation, there is cause of suffering, there is cessation of suffering, and there is a path leading to the cessation of suffering.
Buddham sharanam gacchami, dhammam sharanam gacchami, sangham sharanam gacchami.
In the 3rd century BCE, Emperor Ashoka understood the true meaning of the Dhamma and applied it as a means of righteous governance. He played a major role in the widespread propagation of Buddhism by sending Dhamma missions within his vast kingdom and much beyond into other countries. His efforts took root, and in due course of time, the footprint of Buddhism grew many folds and even acquired the status of state religion in some countries. The Dhamma markers made by Emperor Ashoka and his rock edicts, which were strategically placed on important trade routes, proved to be a novel idea for the widespread propagation of the Dhamma. An important example in this context is the Kalsi Rock Edict site, containing all the major rock edicts from 1 to 14. The priceless Buddhist legacy left behind by Ashoka played the most important role in the rediscovery of the Indian origin of Buddhism in the 19th century. The lion capital of Sarnath was adopted as the national emblem of the Republic of India, and the Dharma Chakra with 24 spokes, which features on this capital, was adopted and placed in the center of the national flag of India. This shows India's reaffirmation of its ancient commitment to world peace and goodwill, as propagated by Ashoka in consonance with the teachings of the Buddha.
I must say that Buddha's teachings are very deeply ingrained in the psyche of India and Indians. And I think India and Indians are very proud to be associated with the Buddha and his teaching.
हम उस देश के वासी हैं जिसने दुनिया को युद्ध नहीं बुद्ध दिए हैं, शांति का संदेश दिया है.
Buddhism, for the first time in the third millennia, moved into new continents like Australia, Africa, Europe, and Americas. A need was felt to facilitate interactions within the Buddhist world and to rejuvenate and revive the ancient linkages, as was the case in the ancient times when India, the birthplace of Buddhism, acted as the source and the driving force of Buddhist philosophy, art, architecture, and ideas. The International Buddhist Confederation, or the IBC, became that platform where all the Buddhist traditions that had flourished in isolation in different parts of the world came together under one umbrella to strengthen interactions within themselves.
Buddhists from all over the world, belonging to all traditions, both Sangha and lay communities, gathered to form International Buddhist Confederation. Definitely it was very historic event for the whole Buddhist world. Now we have over 39 countries having more than 350 organizational members of IBC.
The IBC represents the rich unity in diversity of Buddhism and provides a platform for the global Buddhist community to share its collective wisdom and meaningfully participate in the ongoing global social and political discourse to address important issues like world peace and environmental degradation for the benefit of all sentient beings. To begin with, the Samvad Global Conclave series was started in 2015 by the IBC in collaboration with Vivekananda International Foundation and Tokyo Foundation. Graced by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, along with other esteemed political, religious and academic personalities, the conclave was conceptualized on shifting the paradigm from conflict resolution to conflict avoidance, and from environmental regulation to environmental consciousness as per the principles enshrined in the teachings of the Buddha. The third day of the conclave took place at Bodh Gaya, where the Honorable Prime Minister of India also offered special prayers for global peace at the Mahabodhi temple. The Bodh Gaya Declaration 2015 was adopted on this occasion.
I recognize how Buddhists all over the world revere Bodh Gaya as a place of pilgrimage. We in India would like to develop Bodh Gaya so that it can become the spiritual capital and civilizational bond between India and the Buddhist world. The government of India would like to provide all possible support that its Buddhist cousin nations need for the satisfaction of their spiritual needs from this holiest of holy places for them.
IBC is continuously developing a national Buddhist calendar to mark and celebrate important historical days in the life of Buddha and his prominent disciples. Such important days are being celebrated at the national level on a regular basis with full support of the Government of India. The holy body relics, Sarira Dhatu of Buddha and his precious footsteps in the Gangetic plains are the most sacred for millions of followers of the Buddha from all over the world. But they are inaccessible for a large number of people, especially for those living in far-off lands. The holy relics of the Buddha were discovered from different corners of India in the 19th and 20th centuries. They are presently kept in places like museums for safety reasons and are mostly not open for public exposition. The IBC is sensitive to this issue and has therefore initiated efforts at the highest level to bridge this gap by re-enshrinement of these most sacred relics. The Devni Mori Buddhist Center in Gujarat is an important project to re-enshrine the Devni Mori relics of the Buddha at their fine spot. The second project is the Ashtakunj Grand Relic Stoop at New Delhi to enshrine the Kapilvastu relics of the Buddha to facilitate their veneration as was the case in the past. IBC is also facilitating exposition of body relics of the Buddha in different countries by the Government of India so that the devout who may not be able to visit the holy land of the Buddha get an opportunity of paying venerations to the holy Sarira Dhatu of the Buddha.
In those 11 days, there were people traveling for 5 days, 6 days from different corners of Mongolia to reach Ulaanbaatar to visit the relic. And we saw some bad weather conditions where there was hail storm, and there were about 14,000, 15,000 people standing quietly with their umbrellas outside the Gandhan monastery just to have a look at the relic. I think Mongolia was completely elated by the fact that the relics of the Buddha or the Buddha had arrived in that country and blessed that country.
The scientific teachings of the Buddha have shaped our understanding about mind, consciousness, and suffering for centuries and continue to do so. It's our joint responsibility to protect and preserve his footsteps, known as Buddha Charika, along with his teachings. The IBC realizes its responsibility in spearheading the campaign. Taking references from monk scholars and pilgrims like Xuanzang, who visited India in the 7th century CE, IBC realizes that there existed an elaborate pilgrimage as per the ancient traditions of Chetiya Charika, touching a large number of places in Gangetic plains where Buddha visited and delivered sermons. Therefore, the effort is to take the pilgrimage from the 8 great places to the sublime wanderings of the Buddha and focus on places, routes and rituals. To begin with, the revitalization of some historic walking pilgrimage trails like the renunciation journeys of the Bodhisattva Siddhartha and Mahaprajapati Gautami, the first journey of the Buddha from Bodh Gaya to Sarnath to teach the Dham, and the journey of the Buddha from Rajgir to Shravasti are being taken up. An important project for the integration of the sublime wanderings of the Buddhas in the Gangetic Plains is the development of India International Center for Buddhist Culture and Heritage in the Lumbini Monastic Zone by the IBC. The foundation stone ceremony of the center was conducted by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, along with the Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Shri Sher Bahadur Deuba, on the auspicious occasion of Vaishakh Buddha Purnima on May 16, 2022. Working for the Dham and its dissemination is the collective responsibility of the entire Buddhist world. The IBC plans to raise global awareness towards this and a long-term global participation plan to make it a living heritage by utilizing the collective wisdom united voice platform of IBC, which was jointly created by the Buddhist world for the benefit of all.